Hey, I am going to review Risperidone. Risperidone is the generic of Risperdal, and it is used to treat all sorts of anxiety, from very mild anxiety up to, in the higher doses, it can be used to prescribe people that have very intense problems up to like 10. Some people take up to 10 milligrams, which is actually not even very helpful after you take up to about 3 milligrams. They've proven that it doesn't even really help, but some people are in very high dosage of this because they have problems with their serotonin receptors and all sorts of stuff. They are really messed up. They might have, and I sympathize with you because this can actually help you if you have a chemical imbalance. People with psychosis or these very intense bipolar problems and stuff. Okay, so I have had very mild problems with anxiety and stuff. When I got on this medicine, it was 13 years ago. So I've been on this a long time. So I'm probably the best person that can tell you about what it does with the ups and downs and how it'll help you. So when I first got on this back 13 years ago, see, I don't know if I even needed any medicine at all because I was having problems in my life with the situation that I was in under a tremendous amount of stress. I had just moved away from my hometown to go to a film school, and it was in some, faraway place that I was not used to, and it freaked me out. It really made me start thinking in that way where I was having problems. I started to have panic attacks. I was literally commuting 6 hours a day. And in addition to that, there's like an internship I had up at Universal Studios with some movie development company on the Universal lot. And I was going to film school way down in Orange. And I had to commute 6 hours a day. And I lived over in Long Beach, which was 45 minutes away from my school. I went to Chapman University. And instead of just being, they wanted you to go to the school and just be right there at the school and kind of walk around. You don't even need a car or anything. And I was almost having 2 full-time jobs. So I was under a tremendous amount of situational anxiety. And in addition to that, before I got into the film school, like about a year ahead of time, I was working as hard as I could imagine on this short. Actually, it was this short film right here, Rebel Fish. I'll turn the volume down so it doesn't interrupt. And eventually, I was fortunate enough to get this guy, Pauly Shore, to do an introduction, which is amazing. I made the whole thing for only $200, this short film. But I worked so hard on it in front of a computer, editing and stuff, doing all these little weird sound effects and everything, that I worked so hard editing and doing all these sound effects and sound design, and I did that for 9 months in a bed eventually because it had messed up my body where I couldn't walk. I was working so hard on it, which may sound nuts, but I really wanted to do the movie stuff. And when I was younger, I thought if you work as hard as you can, that'll give you success. So I had a confused idea about how you work, which you don't have to work that hard for success. And this is a big tangent, but the point is that I sat there and withered away, got skinnier and skinnier and skinnier because I didn't want to get all fat and really messed up laying in a bed not moving at all because I had some weird injury and I didn't want to hurt myself. So I barely moved. I barely got up to use the bathroom. I was kind of dehydrated because I didn't want to make trips to the bathroom because it hurt. And I just sat there editing like 14 hours a day, sometimes 18 hours a day, just continual. It was like very intense on me. I wanted to have success in film, and I thought I had to work that hard, and it messed me all up because I was starved. I was literally 100 pounds less than I am now, and I'm at a decent healthy weight now, and I was like 130 pounds or 100 something like that. My legs, one of my legs had atrophied, I think, by the end of it, and it really messed me all up. And being starved, dehydrated, and all this, at the very end of it, I found out, hey, I was accepted to a film school. I started physical therapy, started getting a little better, and almost immediately had to go to actually drive across country, some huge, tremendous thing that I wasn't used to after being this skinny guy in my early 20s, and very awkward for me to all of a sudden be thrown into that world where I was commuting 6 hours a day and had a full-time course schedule, and it just totally messed me up, and I started going kind of nuts, having anxiety attacks. I thought I was going to have I started having chest pains. I thought I was going to have a heart attack, but it was related to the anxiety. It gives you these weird pains and stuff when it gets so bad. And it was so difficult for me to try to go through what I had to get success on almost no money, very little money. I was living off of student loans, a scholarship, and all this. Probably living off of hundreds of dollars a month or something. It was nuts. And that's what freaked me out. And it started making me talk funny. I go, cool, stuff like that. I was like kind of messed up. And my girlfriend at the time was broken up with me. She was living in Texas. And she convinced me to really ask my mom, who loved me and helped me out with money and stuff here and there, to help me get an apartment, and we'd share the rent on it. So I finally got my own apartment, and I quit that internship, but I was still kind of in the habit of barely eating any food and trying to starve myself, and I thought it looked better, but it was messing me up. It was the lack of nutrients. Your brain needs neurons to be fulfilled and energized with nutrients. So the neurons in your brain have to be properly fed. A lot of times people completely cut out carbs, and that hurts it too, because they respond very well to carbs, the neurons in your brain. And when you're starved and very skinny, some people are not made to be that skinny, especially me, who like has more muscle naturally. And to be so skinny, 100 pounds less than I am now, was really messing me up, and not my natural state that my body is more healthy and happy at. So to get proper nutrition is actually more important than eating Risperdal or any medicine. You have to first make sure you're okay. And your situations in life, are you under a great amount of stress in your family life and personal life and the relationships in your life, or at work? Did you go through a major move? Stuff like this. Ask yourself if you can figure out a way to balance that and get comfortable again, get a good home to come home to, get rid of all these anxiety factors in your life, and avoid medicine. Just don't, there's no reason to get on medicine. However, my girlfriend demanded that I get on some sort of medicine, and she got me on this Risperidone, and it seemed to work. And it got rid of all my little, quirky behavior, saying, "Oh, cool," and stuff like, just weird stuff that I would say and think, and it helped regulate me at that time, my brain. But I think I didn't even really need it. I think I didn't even really need the medicine. I had to just start eating healthier. And this is a very important thing if you have anxiety and stuff. If you drink coffee in the morning, like black coffee, or at various times in the day, and don't have milk with it, like a lot of milk, at least 1, 2, 3 glasses, or a whole breakfast. Some sort of nutrients to keep in your system. When you drink black coffee by itself, you may feel energized and everything, and like you're losing weight because it works as a diuretic, but it takes all the nutrients out of your system, and the food that was in your body to that your body to help your body live off of, and have stored some sort of energy there, especially your brain, the brain cells, which are called neurons. They'll have nothing to go to them to make them strong and healthy and working properly. So when you drink black coffee in the morning, it takes all the nutrients out of your system, and it can be very dangerous. So I would suggest, when you drink coffee, having at least 1 glass of milk, whether it's skim milk or 2% or something, at least 1 glass, if not a whole breakfast. It's good to change your habits to where you're not taking those nutrients out of your system and then being all psyched up trying to go around, lose weight and all that. It seems to work for a while, but it can make you nuts. And so there's no reason to continue drinking black coffee or coffee with very little amounts of protein and food value in it, like just putting a little sugar or whatever in black, and a tiny bit of milk is not going to do it. That can really mess you up. And I found when I started adding milk to my breakfast, I've been really normal and really functioning well without any anxiety or anything. So before you get on any medicine, including Risperdal or Risperidone, figure out if you can get rid of any anxiety, because you don't want to become dependent on some medicine for your entire life. Because think about this actually, there are potential side effects when you start getting much older, especially, to be dependent on any sort of medicine. So if you can avoid taking the medicine and figure out how to get your life in order, start eating healthy, don't even worry about getting, super trying to be cut or all this and have low body fat if it's hurting you, if it's hurting your brain. Just eat the proper foods, and maybe you can incorporate some weight training, or weight training will actually help get your body in shape, and you can eat more food and everything will be fine. Like, I weigh 220 or 30 pounds, and I'm in decent shape because I just do the weight training, and it gets rid of all the aches and pains and stuff if you do it properly and get used to it, and do your legs too. That especially gets rid of the it helps physically shape you into a better looking shape. It literally gets you into shape when you do the weight training, if you're worried about looking a certain way. And it's much easier. You don't have to starve yourself and all this to try to be skinny, which is very risky and unhealthy, especially depriving your brain of proper nutrients. So that's important, and making sure you have a good home to come home to. You're not too freaked out with your daily life and stuff like that. Make sure that's all okay first. And then if you're still feeling weird and messed up or whatever, for whatever reason, I would say try Risperidone. And then they'll start you out. The introductory dose is 0.5 milligrams. And if you need, because there's some people who are schizophrenic, they're actually really, schizophrenic and stuff like that, and they may need a higher dosage. So they'll start you out on 0.5, unless you're, really having problems. They might start you at 1, but usually they start you at 0.5. I think that's almost always they start you on 0.5. Then you go up in milligrams, and you want to be careful on risperidone, because as it goes into the higher dosages, it can cause weight gain. So if you do end up, if you're already on risperidone, or you're taking it already, or you have schizophrenia or symptoms of, very intense bipolar disorder, and you have to take it, for some reason you're already on it, try not to take a very heavy dosage, because it doesn't even do anything, is what they say, after about 3 milligrams. After about 3 milligrams, you can take it in the morning or at night. Sometimes it causes you to go to sleep, so you can take it at night, and you eat it with food to absorb it with fat. And so you don't want to take any more than 3 milligrams. It won't do anything. I was up to 4 milligrams at one point because my friend suggested, just double your medicine. It'll make the anxiety go away. So I doubled my medicine. Actually went out and got a different psychiatrist that would enable me to just double it. And it messed me up. I gained about 48 pounds of fat. Like, it's almost irresistible. You want to eat a lot more food. You have no desire to work out when you're on this heavy dosage of risperidone. So I was eating 4 milligrams of it, and it messed me up. And finally I went down to 2. And once you get dependent on it, it is very hard to get off of the Risperdal, because like I said, I've been on it for 13 years. And to wean off of it can take an additional 5 or 10 years or something. Literally, like, once you've been on it so long. So, I would suggest not even taking it if you can. Or if you're having trouble with weight gain, to slowly wean off of it. Like, talk with your doctor and figure out how to slowly wean off of it if you really want to get off the stuff. And if you're smoking marijuana or drinking alcohol, you might want to find a way to get rid of that stuff, because that can really mess with the medicine. So you probably don't want to be doing any of that. And especially the marijuana, especially when teenagers smoke it, in their developing brain, with these with the synapses and stuff developing connections, it's not good at that time to smoke marijuana and give it a super high, and then all of a sudden to take that down and mess with the serotonin levels and all that. It can actually cause schizophrenia when you smoke marijuana as a teenager. It can bring it out later in your 20s and at different times. So it's not good to use marijuana, because also it causes a lot of paranoia. People worry about conspiracy theories, or somebody's watching them, or they're going to get in trouble, or this or that. That's the worst thing about marijuana, I think, is that it causes intense paranoia. And considering that there's a condition called paranoid schizophrenic, you probably don't want to be smoking marijuana, because that can really mess with it. So try to just get rid of the marijuana if you can, because and it's a problem because it's addictive, and most people say, it's not addictive if they're an advocate of marijuana, but it is. And you can get in the habit of doing it every single day. There's lots of people that do it every day, and it generally, it's like an escape from actually facing life and doing things. And the problem is that you want to actually do it more and more, so it can mess with things. When I first started, I wasn't doing any, but I may have tried it as a teenager, and I think that contributed to messing things up. But I never had actual schizophrenia or anything that intense. I was never diagnosed with that. I was diagnosed with something like not otherwise specified, but I had symptoms of these things. And I was actually, right before I took when I was commuting all these distances, I was getting panic attacks. I was driving down the freeway in California, as they call it, the freeway instead of the highway. I was driving down. My arms would start going numb. I thought I'd pass out and, just wreck driving down the road. I was so messed up. I'd have a sharp pain in my heart. I saw some big billboard and it said having chest pains, you may be having a heart attack. And then I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I was so worried, and I had no home to come home to and stuff like that. So if you make sure you have a good home to come home to, if you have to, just quit your job, or lower the hours, or work at a different job where you know the people better, or keep going to your job and just make sure your home life is good. Find out what the problems are in your life and really work on that, and just don't take the medicine or anything. So but if you have to take it, it's there, but just remember you could get addicted to it for life. So it's much healthier to actually eat more food. See, it's better than being 130 pounds. It's better than being 130 pounds and trying to starve yourself. You get to eat like as much food as you want almost, and you can just lift heavy weights and slowly build up, lift heavier weights and do it carefully, and eat healthier. Those sorts of things will help the anxiety problems and stuff like that. Cutting out marijuana, cutting out alcohol, which if you're on the medicine will totally dilute the medicine and delude you in your brain. So that's the review of Risperdal I have. I'm very interested in weaning off of this stuff because I tried to wean down. I tried to wean down off of this stuff from 2 milligrams down to 1.5. I was doing fine. Then I went down to 1, and it just, my mind was racing, thinking like the opposite thoughts that I wanted to think. It was just terrible. So yeah, it takes years to slowly wean down from 2 milligrams down to even 1 or 0.5, I think. So it's very intense stuff and very dangerous, and you don't want to end up being dependent on it. So if you're going to take it, do not try to, if you've been on it for 10 years or something, you can't go down to 0. It's like, it's going to take you another 5 or 10 years to go down to 0 milligrams. I've seen people talk about it online, and I've experienced it firsthand. Once you're on this for like 10 years especially, you'll go nuts if you try to go below 1 milligram, unless you do it so incrementally. Like, say like this is the 1 milligram percentage wise. If you just go down many months, maybe like a year, you're down to about 70 or 80% of what it is, and you go down. Maybe after 5-10 years, you can get rid of it all and take nothing. But it's I felt like I was gonna die or worse when I went completely off of it a few years back. So it's serious, intense stuff, and unless you want to be dependent, I'd suggest not even taking it. So that's what I honestly believe. So I might have to take this stuff for 40 years if I'm lucky enough to live that long, or 30 years. So my intent is to talk with the psychologist and psychiatrist and figure out how I can get off of this medicine that I'm dependent on now, which I would not recommend for anyone to start on this unless they're really messed up. There's something messed up with their brain. And to first seek a therapist, find out if there are factors messing with the anxiety and stress levels in your life, and get rid of those and try to get happy again and get rid of all those factors. Eat healthy, make sure you're eating properly, and as a last resort, you can take this Risperdal. It's very, very strong stuff. You don't feel any certain way. It doesn't make you high or anything like that, but it all of a sudden starts, working and gets rid of the problems and stuff. So it works, but then, do you want to be dependent on this for life is the question. Where's the sertraline review? I'll just see if you type in sertraline review. Sertraline, it's right, happens to be right at the top. Here's me giving a review of sertraline and Zoloft. It's also called Zoloft. If you click here, you can see my sertraline Zoloft review. So there's that. That's an antidepressant. Okay, thanks for watching the video. Check out a bunch of my other content if you want. And that's about it. I'll see you later. Bye.